Here's all the seals. These big seals here go in this area, around the knuckle, 2 pieces. I've got these really long O-rings which go around the outside of each of these. The short O-rings go around here, these parts. Yeah, that should be all. And that's one that I haven't used yet. That's for the PTO, which I may or may not do later on. So, where do we start? Let's start with this piece right here. Let's discuss seals on this Kubota L2900 steering knuckle. I'm putting in new seals. The new seals appear to be 1 piece. The originals were 2 piece. I've done more research now because there's not much available other than other people doing similar work on YouTube. I guess I could try to go to Kubota and they may or may not talk to me about this because, well, you know, they're not going to take responsibility. I was able to answer my question because I did find a video of a guy replacing this on YouTube that had one of the new style seals and he was pulling it out. It was an original seal, he's removing it. And it shows that the way the seal is in there behind me, I've done it right, I've put it in correctly. But let me show you closer what's happening. Well, here's a shot of the original seal. It's not too damaged. I was able to pull it out without too much problem. Now, you got a lip here on the inside, the internal race, and the external race is here. Now, the internal race actually fit on this piece, and I'll show you that in a minute. The external race fits here. Well, on the new seal, this internal race is different. I've just pulled this seal apart. Now, that is what I'm calling the internal race. You can see that lip there. Well, this internal surface here is what goes right here. This metal part of this seal faces up. And that means when this part goes on, it shoots down inside of this, what would be the internal race. And I guess they've got it captive in there somehow so that the seal doesn't come apart. But that's how it's supposed to go together. And I'm basing that all on that video I saw of an original one of these coming out. This is the part that was out. The metal part faces up. So anyways, for me it was a bit of a panic attack, and I hope I've explained it here well enough to you're sure enough that you're putting the seal on correctly. The other thing that the guys really were talking about was making sure this is nice and clean in this area, because that's where the new seal is going to go, and it has to be nice and clean for this seal to work and, you know, last a little bit. There you go. Well, I'm going to continue now and put this one together. I've already put oil into the bearing. The bearings will spin nicely. All I have to do is turn this upside down, stab it in there. I'm going to drive it in with a hammer, and that will seat the internal race here, will seat around this area here. I'm going to make sure that's full of oil so it slides in easily. There, it slipped inside. Okay, that's as far as it could go. I'm going to turn it upside down and put the snap ring up underneath. to hold this and this piece together. Snapped in, no problem. Okay, the next part to go in, this is a little drive stub, axle stub. Put a nice bunch of oil. It's good. So this is going to drop down in there quite a ways. I'll then put these two shims, because I guess this is what came out of here, and I'm going to put them back in, because everything here is the way it was when I took it apart. Okay, the shaft goes up and down in there, so that's not keeping it. It's just being difficult to go in. There we go. There we go. Now that's in there about 5/8 of an inch too far, because this thing is apparently free to float up and down in. Which seems strange to me, but that's the way it is. I guess gravity is just supposed to hold it down. And all I've got to do is put in these two shims, put the snap ring back in place, and then the cap, and then I can put these back on. I'm looking at this because there's a right and a wrong way to put in a snap ring, I think. There's kind of a rounded edge and a sharp edge, and I think the sharp edge should go up. Or out away from the bearing. Whoops, too far. There we go. Yep, here we go, good. And that bearing is free to float up and down. All I have to do is put in this cap. All right, so this is nice and clean. That's seated in there all right. Put a little bit of oil around this O-ring. Okay. Okay, shaft is engaged. It's up to the O-ring. Pins are good. You see one of the studs is missing, and I've got it here. It came out when it shouldn't have. I've just double nutted it, and I'm going to use some thread locker on this end, and that should keep it in for next time. Well, keep it in there, should there ever be a next time. Ooh, I don't want to go in there. What the heck? I might run a tap through there first. So this should be good and clean. Let's give it a final wipe here. It's got a new O-ring on it. And away we go. Now this bearing's got to fit into the pocket there, so take some fiddling around. That's why these two studs are there. Help with that. Okay. I'll line up the hole right there. So we should be able to put the key in and get to it. I've got this funnel, which has just got this long, got a long spout. I can put that here, and it fits in there pretty tight. Sits there against the front of the tractor. Right here is fill port. I know it's high enough when it comes out of there. I've got some oil in it already. So, here we go. There we go. It's full. Has the rubber washer, seal washer on it, little rubber gasket on it. That'll seal it. Okay, and that's a 14 millimeter. Didn't have to be really, really, really tight because the gasket will seal that. Now this one there, that's the same kind of bolt. It's got the same kind of rubber sealing gasket on it. And that'll be the fill plug. That's probably not the right wrench. This is 11/16, but it'll work. Okay, good. Now you'll see some new nuts here. The reason being is there are 12 studs in both sides of this axle. 6 on this side, 6 on the other. Well, 5 of the studs were all damaged, and 6 of the nuts, I couldn't fix them. Now, I don't know if I'm just unlucky, or everyone else is lucky, or don't know. That's unusual, I think. And I used the new studs when I put them in. I used thread locker, and these 2, and then the other 3 on the other side. But the rest of these threads also had to chase, and the nuts also made sure I got a tap and made sure that all the nuts were good too. Well, that completes this part about replacing seals on the front axle. Behind me over here, I still have that bracket to put on the side because there was a broken bolt and had to, actually the first time ever, I was able to use an extractor to get out a broken bolt. It was broken off inside the engine casting. Didn't film that one though. I didn't think it was ever going to work, but yeah, managed to get that one out. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.